Afternoon, Cherries fans, and welcome to the last opposition preview of the year. After a drab 0-0 against Luton at Kenilworth Road, we make the visit to Brentford's shiny new stadium on Wednesday, the 30th of December. The game is actually live on Sky at 5:30. Now, to discuss the Bees, I do have another special guest with me, someone who is currently presented on Talksport, but many people will recognise her from her time in front of the cameras for Sky Sports. It's a pleasure to welcome onto Back of the Net, Natalie Sawyer.
Hello.
Afternoon,
hello.
how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Craig?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And a pleasure to have you on.
It's all mine.
First of all, I wanted to touch on your current role and previous roles that you've had. Do tell us a little bit more about your career.
Oh, goodness. Well, currently I am the co-host of the Weekend Sports Breakfast alongside Tony Cascarino. So that does mean that every Saturday and Sunday we are up bright and early. We're up, we're in the studio, or in the office, I should say, around about 5 a.m. So I don't have much of a life when it comes to the weekend. But, you know, it's really fun show. We're on between 6 and 9 most weekends. And yeah, it's just all about building up to the day's football on that Saturday, reviewing what's happened on the Sunday, but also looking ahead to what's happening that day. And it's just a lot of fun. Talksport has been a real joy to me, actually, because it's a real free, if you like. Radio is quite free with what you can sort of say. Obviously, there are restrictions, but it's just a lot freer, should we say, than TV, which you've alluded to. Yes, I was at Sky for 16 years, something like that, a long old time. And I was sort of a runner and worked behind the scenes for a few years before I was eventually given that opportunity in front of the camera. And yeah, I loved it. I presented on Sky Sports News for many, many years. But that all came to an end in 2018, and now I'm in radio.
Oh, fantastic. So you're a massive Brentford fan, as a lot of people will know. And Brentford are having a good season under Thomas Frank, both in the Cup and in the league. Of course, you beat Newcastle very recently as well, starring Callum Wilson and Ryan Fraser. And we whisper his name quietly around these areas.
I don't blame you.
Brentford rightly considered one of the best teams in the league. What were the expectations this season, Natalie?
Goodness. It's a difficult one because obviously after the season we had last season where we got so close to promotion, I think obviously most people would still be expecting us to be up there this season and be challenging for promotion because of the strange nature, shall we say, of this season. I think it's going to be very difficult to kind of put expectations on the team. It's going to be relentless. The cup run, as you've alluded to already as well, with that we've reached now the semi-finals, is an added bonus, but obviously it's adding more games, which perhaps most teams don't want to be having more games this season, considering the congested nature of it. But look, having achieved what we did last year, which was tremendous, it's only natural that we'd want to be in and around the promotion mix come the end of the season. But I do think we have to have that caveat of thinking, well, actually, this season is like no other. And however it ends up, as long as we're in that championship, whether it's in that promotion mix or we're just securing our status, then I'll just be delighted with that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And it's fair to say there's been quite a lot of fixture congestion recently for all teams, but Brentford in particular. Seeing as you beat Newcastle impressively in the Cup, to be fair, it should have been more, really. You'll have also played Cardiff by the time that we come to our game at the new stadium. What sort of effect do you feel that'll have, and how do you reckon Thomas Frank will actually change things?
Well, it's interesting because if you look at the lineup that we put out against Newcastle, the starting 11, he made 6 changes. And I know that when I first saw that first 11 named, I was a little disappointed because I was thinking this is a chance to get into the semi-finals of the Cup. And that's not to say, obviously, the 11 that he put out wouldn't have performed, as we know they ended up doing so. But you just kind of thought, as you're so close to a semi-final, why not put out your strongest team? Obviously, he's having to think about the league as well, which is your bread and butter. So to make 6 changes and to obviously bring on a few of our regular first 11 players into that team throughout the match, I think he's just handled it well. It's all about match game time and also making sure that players have enough rest to then look ahead to Cardiff, to then look ahead to Bournemouth. So I think he's managing it quite well, actually. And what do I know? I mean, goodness me, we beat Newcastle. So my early disappointment at that team news was completely false, and I should have been positive from the start.
And he really has done well at Brentford. Do tell us a little bit more about Thomas Frank, because he's somebody I didn't know of before he did arrive there.
Yeah, well, he'd been at Brentford for a few years behind the scenes. And so when Dean Smith left, for me, it made perfect sense that you promote within. We've done it previously when Uwe Rosler left and Mark Warburton was there. And we knew that, I mean, that paid dividends, didn't it? Because he got promoted to the Championship, Mark Warburton. So for me, it made perfect sense. You use somebody who was already at the club, part of the structure already, knows how we play, knows the kind of players we want. So it made absolute sense to me that we promoted him. And he is, I have to say, a real joy. He is so matter of fact. He's so honest. I find him just a joy. And anytime I've been around him, he is just so enthusiastic. And one of the first conversations I had with him was when I said, would you like to come on our radio show at some point? It'd be lovely to get you on. The first thing he said was, yeah, but can I swear? Which I was like, well, no, obviously you can't. But that kind of goes to show his character. He's just whatever. He's a matter of fact kind of chap, as I mentioned. And he's working wonders. He's working wonders. We are playing some really exciting football. Certainly last season, some of the games that we played, we were unplayable at times. So yeah, I think he's just doing such great work. The funny thing is, Craig, there are fans that are still unhappy and still are calling for him to go, which I cannot understand myself. But, that's football. It's all about opinions.
And he's got some brilliant results this season. It was a little bit of a slow start for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? Brentford's a funny team. We always make a slow start to every season. Most seasons, we're always there thinking, when are we going to win a game? Or when is the results going to turn positive for us? We have had some good results. We've had some annoying results, like every team. There are matches you play or teams you come up against you expect to win and it doesn't happen, or you've got a lead like we did against Preston, 2-0 up at home, and then we lose that one 4-2. Similarly, the game against Blackburn, we were leading that one comfortably, and then they come back to draw at the end. So there have been obviously some disappointing results, but I think, like I mentioned before, we have to remember the nature of this season and how how relentless it is going to be, and it is being, that we are going to have these freak little results. And like I say, Thomas Frank, for me, I think he's doing a wonderful job, and I just love being a Brentford fan right now. It's brilliant.
Oh, excellent. And I tell you what, from speaking to my dad, there was a game that you'd recently played against Reading. Of course, they're up there, and he said that Brentford on the day are the best team in this league, which he said including ourselves as well. So do give us a little bit more of a lowdown on the Brentford side. I know a lot of people would have watched that game against Newcastle, but do tell us a little bit more about the star players.
Well, do you know what? It's really interesting with what your dad said about that Reading game, because I was fortunate to be there. I was doing some work for Brentford, so I was there. And it was a game where, although we ended up winning it 3-1, on paper it looks quite comfortable. I don't feel it was a completely, dominant performance by us. And I don't think we've even got out of third gear yet, which is in some ways maybe ominous for others. But equally, I'm a bit like, well, when are we going to get to that Brentford that we know, that plays that wonderful zipping football and expansive? And that's exactly how we like to play. It is fast moving. It's switching, it's switching sides. It's a really creative football that we like to play. Obviously, we've had a few departures. So notably, I'm talking Ollie Watkins and Syed Benrahma, who were so instrumental for us last season. And there were a lot of people saying, well, how on earth is Ivan Toney, who we got from Peterborough? How is he going to fill the void of Ollie Watkins? But my goodness, Ivan Toney is loving life in the Championship. 16 goals in 20 odd appearances. he's not doing too badly. So yeah, I mean, Ivan Toney is a massive threat. He's not just a goal scorer. He works hard. He's a team player. He'll do what he can. He'll drop deep if he needs to help out the team. And obviously, it's not just about Ivan Toney. We've got terrific fullbacks. Rico Henry, oh my goodness, he is like a Duracell bunny. He does not stop. So he's one to look out for, as is actually Tarek Fosu, who's been coming in. He's not a natural fullback. He's a winger, but he's been playing as a fullback for us recently and has just taken to it so easily. So I think the good thing with Brentford is it seems as though we have a real good strength depth and players that kind of we seem to have like for like players. So if someone's missing, we know we've got someone who can fill them. So yeah, we've got a pretty exciting squad. As I say though, I don't feel we're quite up to the level that we would expect Brentford to be at right now. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for the league.
And to Silva yesterday, when you watched him,
how did I forget to mention Josh De Silva? My birthday twin, Craig, was on the same day.
He was outstanding, very well taken goal as well in the end. And like I say, Brentford were very unlucky not to get more to really put the game to bed.
Yeah.
How impressed are you though after that horrible end to last season? And I think from what I've seen, I think after the lockdown period and the project restart happened, did you struggle after that period? Did it kind of send the players off maybe the wrong way?
Well, actually, for us, we hit top form once football restarted, and that's when we really got ourselves into a position of challenging for the top two. Now, West Brom did stutter a lot towards the end of the season, and ultimately so did we, because we had opportunities. We only needed one win in our final few games and actually would have overtaken West Brom, and we would be in West Brom's position right now in the Premier League. So actually, in a way, it didn't affect us. And what I think has really helped us as well is this season has come so quickly around. We didn't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. It was a case of, let's just get on with it. Let's focus on this new season and basically making amends for what went horribly wrong in the end for us.
I've got to ask you, like I do all the guests, for a bit of a prediction, how do you think it's going to go against Bournemouth, and how do you think that you're going to stop us, considering we have got a week off effectively?
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's obviously how you use the week, which is, I'm sure, a benefit to any side to be given some time off. But equally, you don't want to lose that momentum that you may have built up. And I have to say, for Bournemouth, I'm not to do you a disservice, Craig, but I'm sort of surprised at how well you've taken to this league once again. I felt like maybe you might need a bit more time to bed in with the change of management and everything like that. Now, of course, I know that Jason Tindall was still part of Eddie Howe's setup, but when someone still comes in with their own ideas, you sometimes think, well, maybe they'll take time. Yet, my goodness, you're doing so well as things stand. How do I think this game is going to go? I'm not sure really. We're 14 games unbeaten as things stand. You've mentioned we've got a Cardiff game to come, and then we'll take on you. So I am going to have to obviously go with Brentford, and I'm going to have to go with a 3-2 win. I think it's going to be a goal fest because you've got Dominic Solanke, Stanislas, and is it Groneveld as well?
So yes, indeed. So Arnaut Danjuma, as we know him.
Got loads of goal scorers on the team.
Well, he was in great form until the injury recently.
Right.
But Stanislas has been very, very good. And Solanke, even though I don't think he's our 20-goal season striker, there's a lot of Bournemouth fans that wish that we'd actually gone in for Ivan Toney ourselves.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to say he's a B.
But I think I'd be quite happy with a point at Brentford, considering how well you've been playing. If it was a home game, then you'd say win your home games, draw your away games. But I think this is a game where it's going to be very, very tough, and I'd be more than happy with a point, to be fair, myself. But I don't disagree with you. I think it's going to be a bit of a goal fest, which will be good for the neutrals.
It will, and you're absolutely right, though, to have mentioned the Cardiff game before, and who knows what happens. I mean, that's not going to be an easy game. Neil Harris's Cardiff, they're quite resilient, aren't they? Quite, you know what to expect from a Neil Harris side, shall we say. Although having said that, they've been playing more football, shall we say, than I've expected. So it all depends on that result as well and how we react to that. I'd like to think we can go to Wales and pick up a win, but it could be a tough one. But you're absolutely right. You want to win your home games, and a visiting team will at least want to come away with a point. So I just feel like there's going to be goals in this one. I think it will. I think it'll be an entertaining game.
Yeah, most definitely for the neutral. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on this opposition preview, Natalie. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you, and all the very best for the future of your career, and have a lovely Christmas as well.
Oh, thank you so much, Craig. I will wish you the best of luck for Bournemouth and for Bournemouth fans, but obviously not on the 30th when you take on us. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you do well this season.
I wouldn't be surprised, and fingers crossed. I think personally, you'll probably come up with us.
Oh, well, I hope to have.
That's my prediction.
I like that prediction, Craig. And you know what? If that happens, and by that stage, when that happens, hopefully we'll be in a position where we can have a promotion party. We'll have a double promotion party. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. I want the scenes back on the beach.
Lovely.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you.
All the best. Take care. Thank you. Well, thank you again for joining me on this final opposition preview of 2020. Have a very cherry Christmas and a very happy new year. And hopefully 2021 will be a lot better year in more ways than one. And maybe, just maybe, return back to the Premier League. But until next time, up the cherries. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.